holding each other, somewhat like Ghost, Walker, Bobby, and Yelena. There are movies that teach us. The movie Cold Mountain told the story of a Civil War soldier who had fallen in love just before he marched off to war. And the movie portrayed his grueling trek home to be reunited with his beloved, only to be tragically killed just after he reaches her. Sad story. We move on from that story, and we know there are so many other stories, and there is an ancient Christian legend in which a woman's happiness was shattered by the loss of her brother, a good man, dearly loved. Torn by anguish, she kept asking, "Why?" But hearing only silence, she set out in search of the answer. She had not gone far when she came upon a man sitting on a bench, weeping, and he said, "I have suffered a great loss. I am a painter and I have lost my eyesight." He too was seeking the answer to the question, "Why?" And the woman invited her to join her on her journey. And soon they overtook a young man who had lost his wife to another man, and a young woman who had lost her child. They too joined them in their quest. Suddenly they came upon Jesus, the Christ. Each confronted him with their questions, but Jesus gave no answer. Instead, he began to cry, and he said, "I am bearing the burden of a woman who has lost her brother, a girl who has lost her baby, and a painter who has lost his eyesight, and a young man who has lost his true love." As he spoke, the four moved together and embraced each other, and they grasped Christ's hands. Then Jesus spoke again, saying, "My dominion is not the dominion of the world. My dominion is the dominion of the heart. I cannot prevent pain. I can only heal it." "How?" asked the woman. "By sharing it," he said. If you have seen Thunderbolts, you saw the same happening. It is the sharing of our story in community and forming a unity that helps us get well. The gospel reminds us that we are never alone in this world. Jesus is with us, sharing our joys, our sorrows, our pains, our everything. Jesus prays in today's gospel to the Father that he has made known, the Father's name to the world. And in this, the last part of Jesus' prayer, before he completes the final part of his journey back to the one who sent him, Jesus is speaking of his earthly sojourn in terms of coming down and going back up. He's sent from the Father, but returning to the Father. Paradoxically, he also speaks of never having been parted from the Father. From the opening lines of the Gospel of John, we are told that the Logos, the Word, is the one with God and is ever in the bosom of the Father. So Jesus speaks of his profound oneness with the Father that he desires to share completely with those who believe in him. Unlike the parted lovers in Cold Mountain who treasured, tattooed photos that they kept close to their heart until they would be united physically again, with Jesus and the one who sent him, there was never any physical parting. In Thunderbolts, Marvel movie, of course, the characters unite and survive. And amazingly, if you listen to their words, you catch the hidden spirituality coming alive again once they are able to talk about their deep hurts. They began to share circumstances, and they're going to survive. That most recent Marvel film bucks the trend. They're not all really good. Thunderbolts is fantastic and carries some serious emotional weight. And at its core, it is a movie about mental health. Understanding we are valuable and worthy of love, and we don't have to carry all the hard stuff alone. The heroes found strength in sharing their emotions with one another. Jesus says that our joy as humans can only be complete once his joy, the joy of God, is within us. I might be extrapolating, but I was struck by the idea that an emotion, joy, is not complete until we experience it with another. Jesus' words reinforce in my mind the idea of community and togetherness. We can't do it alone. I interpret his message as applying not only to joy, but to all emotions, the more uncomfortable and upsetting ones, anger, sadness, grief, they're not meant to be experienced alone. And the feeling that we get from engaging in these emotions by ourselves is not the final word. Joy is complete when another person's joy, or God's joy, is within us. Similarly, all the unpleasant emotions are not complete. We work through them and find them finished only when we let other people in and their lives become part of ours. Jesus speaks of not just seeing, understanding, or relating to his love, but remaining there, remaining in his love. To me, he means that the process of sharing emotions and walking with one another is never ending. We don't reach a point where we get through it all by ourselves. We aren't meant to. We are meant to walk with one another and with God forever. This empathetic approach is what keeps us going and keeps us doing what we do best, loving. I know 1980s did a push on individualism big time, and guess what? It was driven by people who wanted us disempowered. It is a myth that the rugged individual needs no one. It is community that needs to be encouraged. I'm not sure if Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan could have imagined my take on Thunderbolts, but as long as they keep making this kind of movie, I'm going to keep trying to think about them deeply. I used to think they were just for the kids. No, they're not. And, I'm just wired that way. I know, wired weird. And I have my best friends to thank for walking me through every emotion that I had. Without them, I don't know where I'd be. And so the unity of Jesus with the Father is not that of an exclusive twosome. Jesus' fervent prayer is that all may be drawn into this uniting love of the divine persons. He prays not only for those who have come to believe in him, but also for all who will believe through their word, as he earnestly desires that they may all be one, as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they also may be in us. As we are becoming more aware in our day of the oneness of the whole cosmos, the whole world, may we hear Jesus' prayer not only for oneness of the human community, but also for every part of the created universe. We know that every part of the cosmos is interrelated and connected in one great, just a big web of life. We are connected. We need to realize that. And since this is our reality, perhaps Jesus' prayer is not so much a prayer that unity may come to be, but rather that we who are already completely and irrevocably united may come to the realization and act accordingly. Hey, this realization would have a profound effect not only on how human beings treat one another, but also on the ways in which human beings care for the earth and all creatures. The newness that already binds us together, it's a gift from God, and like all gifts, can be accepted or rejected. One way in which we can receive the gift is to enter into contemplative prayer, seeking and longing for oneness with our beloved. I call this smelt because you embrace silence for the S and meditate, and then we listen, and then we talk. May we embrace the whole world, and accept the responsibility of being God's presence to one another. And together let us say, Amen.